I did that to let y'all know I don't just preach. I saw Nisa in the back. She looked up like, who is that? So every now and then you got to let them know. Good morning. We're thankful to the Almighty God. I see Brother Rick is here now. We had a lot of moving parts this morning. Brother, we got to all communicate. We got to say this out loud. We apologize for starting Bible class late this morning. We need to be on point. We're going to turn it over to Brother Richard Nelson IV right now for our adult Bible class. Thank you, Brother Darrell Williams. That font is it's like 8-point font in those song books. You look and all the words start running together. Brother, I know. I'm at that age. So I'm glad I knew the song you were singing. So let us turn it over to Brother Rick.
Good morning, everybody. You have the Bible, please turn to Genesis chapter 27. Chapter 27. We're going to pick up around verse 35. Genesis 27:35. Here it says, and he said, thy brother came with civility and hath taken away thy blessing. Who is talking here? Make sure we're in context. Who's talking here? Anybody? Is it Abraham? No, remember, he passed away. It's Isaac. And who is Isaac talking about? Jacob and Esau. Now, verse 36. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? You ever done something and as the months go by, you regret it? Now he's asking his dad, "What? You have something for me?" Well, he had a birthright, he had a blessing for him. But he chose to have him taken away. Did the oldest take it from Esau by force? Not at all. Due to his desire to want it now, such as the suit, he lost it. How can that help us being God's people today? Or can it? James talks about a word. Starts with a P. James says, let blank have her perfect work. Patience. Why is patience so incredible? How many times have you said, man, I'm glad I did not do that? Can anybody relate to that? Remember, we'll take one right from Genesis. Remember when Abraham and his crew and Isaac and his crew came into the land of Canaan, and Abraham told them, you choose the land, and then I'll choose what's left over. I'm sorry, I said Isaac, Lot. What did Lot choose? Anybody remember? Come on now. I'm sleepy too, but I'm talking. That's right. The side that looked much better. He looked at that over his uncle. Remember, his uncle took him in. He didn't have to. And what was the name of the land? Once you say the name, you'll know the rest of the story. What was the name of the land? Sodom and Gomorrah. And we know the story about that. Lost his wife in that ordeal because he thought it was better. What if he would have said, my uncle is saying I can pick any land that I want to, and he's been so good to me. Blessed him with all the crews, but he wanted the best. So patience plays a serious role in our life if we let it. Is it challenging to be a little patient in this modern day? Yeah, everything is fast. I remember when my son, the one that's in the back, Thomas, first got into computers, and he was working on mine, and it took a few minutes to come on, and Thomas said, "No, this is slow." I said, "No, that's fine for me." But see, he's used to work with fast computers. I was like, "No, that'll be okay." You go out, you got fast food now. If it takes longer than 30 seconds, it's like, come on, pup. I remember one person going through McDonald's to get a milkshake, and the person was in line. Couldn't have been in the drive-thru. Couldn't have been the drive-thru no more. It didn't pass a minute. I just saw his hand go up. I thought he was going to hit the dashboard. Bang! He didn't get off that. I said, man, if it's that bad, you need to get your money back and go somewhere else then. Now, there are expectations, but we have to have patience. I'm going to tell y'all a true story that taught me a lot. You know, we hear a lot about customer service, right? I think I shared this story with you guys, so I'll be quick with it. One day I worked at a foster home, and I was in Walmart getting some stuff for lunch. And you know, these stores have the regular lines, and they have the line 10 items or 20 items or less, right? And those lines usually go quicker. I got in one, and there was a lady that got in front of me, had a basket full of stuff. Ooh, so my mindset was, oh my goodness, it says 20 items or less. And then I'm hoping the cashier will say, ma'am, you can't bring, you got to go to one of the other aisles. She didn't say it. She just started boop, boop, boop. And the people behind me were going crazy, like, what is she doing? This is supposed to be to get in and out fast. And then her phone rang. We got on the phone. And then me and the two people behind me were both men. And we both noticed she was crying. Then she started crying real hard. And we said, ma'am, are you okay? She says, came over there to do some last minute grocery shopping. My husband's going into surgery. He's already in surgery, and they're saying it's not going well. We said, well, you got to get back over there. We got all of our stuff up there. Me and the two guys behind me got our stuff up there. And the bill came out to about $70-something. Me and the three guys split the bill. One guy said, I paid the whole thing. I said, no, we'll split it. Split it. We walked her out, put the food in her car, and she took off. Now, what if the story would have ended with just us complaining about her being in the wrong lane? Now, there's a point to make about that, but that wasn't the time. Especially being a Christian. Sometime in this world, the world is so contrary to what we believe, sometimes the best customer service is the customer service. Because it could send a huge, huge message that wouldn't have been served. Now, she may get there and the husband may have died. At least she can remember some people that helped her get the stuff and get her out of there. Can we deal with that? But that took patience on our part. You know, when you got a 30-minute lunch break, you gotta maximize that. So when I'm in Walmart, that's all I was thinking about. I got to get in and get out. But I'm gonna let that trump somebody who's in sincere need. Shame on me if I wouldn't have done that. And I'm glad it influenced. I don't know if the other two guys were Christian, but it influenced them because everybody was making their comments from the back like crazy. Questions, comments, disagreements, or confusion? Yes, JV. Say one more time. Yes, patience. Yes. Yes. Polar opposite. Yes. Mm-hmm. The Bible gives us. I'm sorry, were you finished, JV? Thank you. JV, for those that are listening, JV was saying there are some people that have the natural patience, and there are some people who naturally it's hard for them to be patient. The Bible talks about the fruit of the Spirit. Does the Bible say, well, because you're outgoing, you don't have to worry about this particular fruit? Or because it's easy for it? No. We all have something to work on. If you have a hard time being patient, you need to look at the fruit of the Spirit and follow the scriptures that show you how to be more patient. I have a lesson I'll do from the pulpit one day about patience, because it's easy to use. I can use myself as an example. I grew up, I was quiet as a mouse. If you came in a room and didn't see me, you would know I would be in the room. Unless you're talking about football or movies. Then I started talking. Then I got into the Bible and wanted to teach it. So I'm still not considered an overt by no means. But I'm much more comfortable talking publicly now than I was before, because I invested in what the Bible said. That was a weakness for me. Now it's not. Does that make sense? So wherever you're short, if the Bible requires it, you got to do it. I remember one person said, I'm too nervous. I can't talk to anybody about the gospel. I said, you're looking at it as a lesson. Just share what God has done for you. And then if that still becomes hard, then you be the person to set up the Bible studies. I think you all have heard me and Brother Gale mention a lady named Sister Booth. She attended Coconut Grove. I think we had about 100, easily 150 Bible studies, because she just invited people to her house, and she could cook too. Made us meals. We came over and we talked to people that she had there. In other words, she did her part. She didn't just say, I can't. She did her part. If God requires us to do it, then we need to use the scriptures to figure out a way to do it. Does that make sense? Y'all ever heard of network marketing? Remember Amway and all that? You use your team to get to the goal, right? Why can't we do that with evangelism? We can, if we see the real value in it. Thank you, JV, for that question. Yes, Brother Darrell. Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, you can. That's right. Absolutely. And I love how you said you can add to that ability. When I was baptized as a kid and grew in the church, I didn't think I was going to ever teach Bible class or preach. Oh, Lord, no. But that talent was added to me because I desired it. But on the backside, we have to be willing to do where there's a need too. I'll be quick, because I think I shared this with you all once before. We had when we went to Coconut Grove, we drove up from a little area named Richmond Heights. It wasn't far, but it wasn't walking distance either. And we found out a lot of people from that area wanted to come up, and they said, "Can we use the church bus?" And I remember they got all the brothers together. Can anybody drive the bus? And it happened to be that all the brothers that were in the meeting, Brother Didell, wanted to preach. And I say it that way because it was almost like that's the glory. Preachers and people don't realize how the responsibility a preacher has. It's not the glory. It's just, if God blesses you with that, you make it known, and the elders will see what they can do. Driving the bus seemed like, driving the bus, you got to get up early. So nobody did it. So I deliberately told Brother Walsh, I said, I'll drive the bus. I said, if it's possible, can I keep it down south? He said, yes, because that's where the people was coming from. I didn't know the addresses of everybody, but the first person I picked up did. See how we worked together? His name was Brother Fluellen, and I loved, he could talk. Even if I was tired, once I got him, he'd be out front. You know, old school people, when you say they're coming to pick you up, you ain't got to pull up and blow. I would be coming to the street. He's already looking. I was like, Brother Fluellen, get on the bus. Hey, we're going to go around the corner. I'll go up a little bit. That's be all right. Hey, Brother Nelson, how you doing? That's the way he talked, from picking him up to us getting everybody heading up to Coconut Grove. That taught me such a lesson. You're in service for the Lord. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're getting people to service that God requires. Does that make sense? Question, comments, or disagreements? All right, let us continue. Remember that Esau here is a little trouble. Verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and with wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Now it's always, I don't like to skip over these words sometimes. It says, I've made him thy Lord. What does he mean by Lord? I thought Jesus Christ was Lord. Yes, JB. hmm That's right. The word Lord in the general definition, and many times could mean master. Or if you watch the old movies about the knights, many times when the husband came home with his armor on, the wife would look at him and say, Welcome home, my lord. It wasn't that he was Lord of Lords, but he was the head of the household. The reason why I say this, when you get in debates with the denominational world, it's important to know the meaning of words. I was talking to a young lady from the Church of Christ from Sunset years ago, and I said, yes, we're a part of the Church of Christ. I said, but they're a part of the Baptist Church. Who she was talking to, she said, ooh, we shouldn't call it Baptist Church. And I said, why? Because there's only one church. I said, you're right. But when you go to look up the word church, just a general definition, you know what it means? It means called out body. The Church of Christ happens to be the called out body of Jesus Christ. The Baptist Church is the called out body from John Smith. They're both church, but there's only one true church. You follow me? And I said that because you want to find the areas to agree so you got leverage to get in. I love watching a sports analogy. I remember one guy said, this is going to be a touchdown. I said, how can he say that so easy? He said, the defender is 5'6". The wide receiver is 6'4", and he can. Quarterback has got to do is put it up. And I was like, almost like he knew it. Drop back was the quarterback at the time was Doug Flutie. Some of you know it. He just lobbed the ball up. That guy ran down. They both jumped. It was so easy. The 5'6" guy, his hand was about here. 6'4" hand was about here. He just came down with it. It was a matchup. What can we learn from that? Is there any circumstance in this life that can keep you down? I'm talking to Christians. There shouldn't be any that can. Now, can that knock you down? Yes. But should it keep you down? No, because God is greater than any experience we can go through. I'll come right to you, Brother Lopez. We have to remember that when we go through these circumstances, though. That's the hard part. Does that make sense? Brother Lopez, sir. Yes, that's right. And we have to remember that as Christians, God has given us everything to get back up. I was thinking this week, y'all know I had an incident last Sunday. And I was thinking this week, I said, it's one thing to be grateful for your brothers and sisters, because they're your spiritual brothers and sisters. But I'm thankful for some of the skills our brothers and sisters have. Sister Natalie was like an angel. She flew over to me. I'm not literally flying. I mean, how quickly she got up because she's a nurse and was helping me. I was like, wow. My brothers and sisters around me too, but she had the medical skills to deal with this. Brother Hamilton jumped on 911 right quick. Before I could say 911, he'd already gone. We should be thankful for that. and thankful for all the skills that our brothers and sisters have. The gentleman's not here now, but I've had Brother Melvin in my house many times working on construction. And he's just so wonderful. He's a delight to have at your house working on construction. Because he's cracking jokes as he's fixing whatever you need done. You know, with construction and things like mechanics, you got to have people you can trust. Because they'll come in there, okay, well, change order, another $1,500. And you don't know what they're talking about. It's like, no, I got to get somebody I can trust. I don't care if it costs more. At least it's going to a brother. Very, very grateful for that. But may we never, ever forget that. Thank you, Brother Lopez. It shouldn't keep us down. And if it does, it's because we're allowing it. And we shouldn't allow it. Make sense? Okay, let's move on to verse number 30. Hang on, let me turn my... Okay, verse 38 of chapter 27. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing? My father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Now, didn't Esau know the blessings and the birthrights? He was fully aware of that. So why now all of a sudden, because he gave them up, is he requesting something else? He went to the point, you ever see when somebody, I'll come right to you, Brother Lopez. As y'all know, I'm a teacher. I work with kids. And it's amazing when kids want something or don't want something. And when the tears come out. If a kid is constantly acting up, I'll call the parents right during class. I'll say, hold on. I got my interventionist. I'll have them hold the class. Do. No, please don't call. Do. No, please. All of a sudden, please don't call. I mean, tears just pouring down. I said, you should have thought of that when I told you for the third time to stop talking and calling. But it's amazing when we want something out of them, it's easy to get them tears, isn't it? Ooh, Brother Lopez. $37? Go ahead, buddy. Yes. With the heel and everything? Yes. Younger brother. That's right. Why is that hard to deal with? Meaning because Esau is having a hard time with it. If God told a mom, you would assume that the mom has told the son, this is what God wants. The story that I want to parallel with is Joseph. Remember Joseph had the dream and he was excited and he wasn't told? His brother was like, oh, who? I'm paraphrasing. Well, who are you for God to pick you? If that's what God wanted, why can't they accept it? The human condition. I see that many times when there's women preachers, or I forget who I was talking to, but they're like, well, it's not just for man, a woman can preach too. I said, give me the scripture. And they said, well, give me the scripture where it doesn't. And I said, it says a woman cannot usurp authority over a man. Read that context. It's talking about teaching. Well, I have a good teaching ability. I said, my wife has great teaching ability, but you'll never see in the pulpit because she accepts what God has said. And it's amazing, and that's something for all of us. Can we fully accept what God has said? Because if Esau would have accepted what God had said, that wouldn't be an issue right now. He's putting his own desires in. When we go back to the first century, when the Church of Christ was first instituted, there was nothing else that was called a church. Nothing. When you said church, you meant one. Matter of fact, they would call it those in the way, because there was only one way that did that. And then you come forward to the Catholic Church and all this denominational stuff in the world. You know where all that came from? Man wanting his desires to be put in there. I think we'll do the Holy Rosary. I think we'll put in purgatory. I think we'll do this. All that created other doctrines. That's why it's so important for us to stick to this. Was that the first bell? First one. for us to stick to this word and challenge people when they don't. That's why it's important for everybody to know the word. Because there are subtle things. I meant to put this on a PowerPoint. Oh, I'll be quick before we close out. You know now, and you can vote for whoever you want to vote for. That's not the point of what I'm saying here. I'm just saying what happened. It was all over the news. It hit me so hard, I took a picture of it. I showed it to my wife. Now in the White House, there's an office of faith. That's what they call it. And they got a lady over it. I forget her name. But she has a thing that she sent out to all the news things. I'm just going to read some of the stuff that has on there because it's getting to me. People are sending money like you would not believe, too. Oh, come on. Here we go. Take my glasses off. Listen to some of the things. If you send $1,000, this is what you'll get. You'll get assigned an angel to you. You will be an enemy to your enemies. Now, this is coming from her. You will prosper. It's got a dollar sign beside it. It'll take sickness away. Why do we need doctors then? It will give you long life. 2 more. And it'll cause an increase for you. And the last one, a special year of blessing. When you give $1,000 to the House of Faith at the White House, that's promised to you. They say you can give any amount, but when you give $1,000, that's what you get. I'm going to have this on a PowerPoint just to let you know that it's really getting crazy. And if you don't know, people are giving. People are giving thinking, I got an angel assigned to me. Ooh, the commentator tore it up. Don't you realize when you're a Christian, by proxy, you're an enemy to the world? You need to give $1,000 for that. Was that the second bell? But it's amazing. Don't let this stuff fool you. What did Bob Marley say? Don't let them fool you. Because it may sound good, and it may catch you right in a place where it's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and give this $1,000. One man they was interviewing him. He was like, I need that. So that's how you're going to get it. You might need that $1,000 too. We're going to close out. Thank you all for your questions, your comments, and we'll pick back up, Lord's will, on Wednesday in Genesis 27. Bow with me, please.